A top story across the country today, a teenager who set fire to a delivery bike. So a teenager has been charged with theft and arson in the Emirates Juvenile Court. The Dubai Public Prosecution announced on Wednesday. This is a 17-year-old, along with a friend. They stole a delivery bike, which was parked at a restaurant. So a delivery driver's bike was stolen. They drove to a different area. And what the teen did was pulled out the bike's petrol tube and set it on fire in a very deliberate act.
The juvenile has been placed under judicial probation, while other person involved in the crime was referred to the misdemeanor court, and parents are urging to keep an eye on their children's activities and make them aware of consequences stemming from irresponsible behavior.
This is a very rare story that you see. A teenager has been charged with a crime related to antisocial public activity. And it made me, and we always talk about safety in Dubai, and I know that messaging is very clear, we don't need to rehash it, but in terms of like teenage antisocial behavior, you really don't see it here.
100%, you just don't. And that too, like teenagers, you don't see a lot of like rebelliousness in terms of like against the community, against the society. So this kind of act, of course, like, you know, just takes residents aback, and they're just like, okay, this is new. But like Dubai affirmed, like if you do go on and like go astray and commit crimes like this, there will be very harsh consequences.
Exactly. So they're taking a really hard line against this extremely antisocial behavior move. And you know what was interesting? In the announcement by public prosecution, they said what happened. And then in the second slide, they said, parents, we urge you to remind your kids of the consequences of this irresponsible behavior, which is such an important message because, you know, how children grow up, like how you deal with your kids and how you kind of like talk to them about life messages, and is the responsibility on the school to teach them how to act socially, or is it on the parents? And it's like, no, just a very like normal thing. Talk to your kids, let them know consequences if you step over the lines of the law. That will happen. And then especially in Dubai, when they take a really strict line, it's really important to remind them of this messaging.
What you said is so true. Like, you know, who is responsible for this behavior at the end of the day? Like, is it the child? Is it the parents? Is it the school? And there's so much pressure on every single group, right? Like for parents, it's like constant pressure of like earning, looking after their kids, homework, school, activities, everything. And then schools have the responsibility of thousands of children and kids, you know, like they have their own things going on. So it's just like so many factors that come into play. But of course, like you have to be so vigilant of your kids and see what they're going through, and see if they need someone to talk to, put them through counseling if you feel there's something, you know, missing, or if there's something wrong.
Yeah, I deep dove into some Facebook conversations really specifically on this topic of one parent in particular who was struggling with her child, and you know there was a massive debate on, you know, whether or not it was, you know, time to seek counselling. And at the end of the day, the response was, at the beginning, talk to your child and do seek help from a counsellor or therapist, and then also ask them to have that conversation if you're concerned in any way, because I think the pressure is on kids now versus even the difference between what I'm 20 years out of school, but the difference in time is vast, and it's hard for us to really understand the pressures on teenagers right now. We didn't grow up with so much social media. Times have changed for the better or for worse, but to understand the pressures is hard for parents, as you said, when they're so busy. So if there is any cause for concern, do speak to a professional. It's their job.
100%. We've had so many experts on the show who literally, like, their main primary point is kids want to be heard. They basically want to be heard. They want someone to talk to. They want that open space, safe space. So like if you're not able to provide that at home, like just make sure they get it externally. Like Casey said, from a counselor, a guider, anyone, you know, who they can just open up to and feel it safe.
True that.